This is Valley News Live at 5:30.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Kaylee Chella. Some drivers in the Valley know all too well what mudding is, and there's a big price to pay if you get caught doing it. Right now, Cass County authorities are warning everyone to drive safely on those soggy gravel roads or else. Valley News team's Jillian Trudeau found out what happens if someone digs up the roads on purpose.
Spring weather brings a lot of things to the valley, but for Cass County deputies, it seems to bring trouble.
Typically, we see a spike right around this time of the year when the snow first starts melting, and the roads are really soft at that point.
Recreational driving on low-maintenance roads, or
mudding is what we'll often call it,
is a huge problem for deputies, and especially townships, who have to pay to get those roads cleaned and back to a safe condition.
We get concerned, of course, because the townships that maintain those roads don't have a lot of money to do that.
Genre says to find these drivers, they start with people's complaints and descriptions to locate the vehicle, then confirm if the driver is there for recreational purposes, and if yes, the incident will be reported as a Class B misdemeanor. Then deputies ask for the driver to pay for the damages for the townships.
A number of our townships don't have a lot of money to do that, and so certainly that's why we're asking for the restitution piece.
But he also says sometimes the evidence isn't always there, meaning incidents occur that damage rural roads, but no one to be charged. There were 3 charges reported in 2019, 7 reported in 2020, and 1 already this year. Jillian Trudeau, Valley News Live.
Sheriff Johnner told us another factor is the safety of the roads. If people drive over those rough areas, they could lose control and hit a ditch, causing damage to their car. Flood managers along the Wild Rice River are keeping an eye out for ice jams. This one formed 3 miles south of Ada. Cindy Smith sent us this video, and while it looks to be a problem, the director of Norman County Environmental Services says there are no red flags here or at the other 2 bridges nearby because there's still enough clearance for river water to flow. As you can see, there's a huge difference between one side of the bridge and the other. Overcast skies ruled the day today, and with that wind, it felt downright chilly. Meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us now to tell us where we're headed tonight. Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Kaylee. Even with temperatures in the 40s right now, that north wind really does do a number on the wind chills and makes it feel quite a bit cooler out there this evening. So you can see this is a refreshed look at our Corwin Auto Tower cam. It was offline for all winter long. Crews finally got up on our tower here in South Fargo and are giving us this beautiful look here toward Moorhead there. You can see some clouds out on the eastern horizon, and that's because that system that brought some showers to our neck of the woods yesterday now moving into portions of northern Minnesota with some deeper blues indicating some more intense or robust snowfall rates from St. Cloud up toward Duluth, even seeing some freezing rain in those areas as well. Can't rule out a few flakes and flurries from Bemidji down through Ottertail County and Grant County, but really most areas seeing minimal impacts from those showers here this evening. Temperatures 45 in Fargo, also 45 in Oaks, 50 still in Aberdeen, but the colder air starting to filter in from north to south with that north wind. Already some mid-30s up in the Langdon area at this hour. So, of course, the flood warnings for the Southern Valley all continue for the Wild Rice, Buffalo River there in Dilworth, the Red River down toward Wahpeton, the Wild Rice River in Colfax, and the Maple River there in Mapleton. Good news is that Maple River has crested already and is coming down as we speak. Up toward the north, though, the Red Lake River near Crookston and the Red River from Grafton all the way down through Grand Forks all have flood warnings. And here's one of the spots that we are watching closely, the Wild Rice River near Abercrombie, expected to crest near 15.5 feet here in the next couple days, and then it will start coming down. But that is in the moderate flood stage. But Kaylee, a dry stretch of weather ahead. Good news for those flood conditions. So we'll talk about all that in detail in a few minutes.
All right, Nathan, thanks so much. Well, authorities say a man is lucky to be alive today. Right now, he's hospitalized with hypothermia, and he's facing charges after leading officers on a pursuit and hiding in a slough. The chase started last night on I-94 east of Jamestown. An officer says he tried to stop the driver, but they exited north on County Road 62 instead. The car then became stuck in a slough, and the 22-year-old driver got out and tried to run, swimming and wading through the water. 2 passengers in the car, a 21-year-old woman and a 20-year-old man, were detained, but it took officials an hour and a half of searching through the slough to find the driver, who by this point was severely hypothermic. Charges are pending, and we'll let you know when that man's name is released. Bail has been set at $25,000 for a man accused of kidnapping after he was arrested in Lemoore County over the weekend. 35-year-old Ryan DeGroat is now charged with kidnapping, felony restraint, and terrorizing. Court documents say he took a 41-year-old woman at knife point, cutting and punching her as he forced her to drive his car here to North Dakota. Law enforcement used cell phone data to track him down. They were found at a rest area just north of Edgeley early Saturday morning. DeGroat is expected to be in court again next month. President Joe Biden has agreed to meet with the leaders of other NATO countries later this week as the defense coalition tries to bring an end to the war raging in Ukraine. Tomorrow, the president heads to Brussels, and later he'll visit Poland, where millions of Ukrainian refugees have sought shelter. Today, a defense official said Ukraine appears to be making gains in some areas as the country's president warned his people to get used to the sound of air raid sirens. New video shows explosions at industrial buildings and factories in Mariupol.
They're also suggesting that Ukraine has biological and chemical weapons in Ukraine. That's a clear sign he's considering using both of those.
President Biden warns with Putin's back against the wall, the worst may be yet to come. Fargo City Commissioners unanimously approved a resolution to dismantle contractual relationships with Russia. It was introduced by Commissioner Arlette Preston, who says it's intended for the companies that the city has relationships with that are also doing business with Russia. She said it would not impact other Fargo businesses that also do business with Russia. You can add another name to the growing list of people running for Fargo City Commissioner. Denise Kilpatrick announced her candidacy today, and Kilpatrick serves on the Fargo City Arts and Culture Commission. She's been involved in a number of community organizations as well. She says if elected, she'd like to focus on continued growth for Fargo, enhancing safety and security by supporting police and fire departments, and ensuring our workforce, especially childcare, have the support that they need. The number of missed school days in Minneapolis has hit double digits. Educators remain on strike for higher salaries, mental health resources, and limits on class sizes. The union president says they're ready to settle and is accusing the district of stalling. But the district says the union's requests are out of their budget. In the meantime, dozens of students are spending their days at the YMCA, where wide-ranging programming is giving them some real-life skills.
We have a program where it's garden to table, so they learn how to grow their food and then prepare their food, and they learn about nutrition.
Families can now expect school to go longer into June to make up these lost days. Several parents and students have said to staff at the Y that they're ready to be back in class. Minnesota lawmakers are discussing a proposal that would prohibit social media companies from targeting children under 18 with algorithms. It would prohibit social media platforms in Minnesota with 1 million or more users, and there'd be a penalty of $1,000 per violation. That's if the legislation passes. Trade groups representing big tech and e-commerce companies are against it, arguing it's too broad and would also stifle good content algorithms that at times can regulate misinformation. They also raised First Amendment questions. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's Supreme Court confirmation hearing got heated today as senators began their first round of questioning. The judge's background as a public defender, including representing inmates at Guantanamo Bay, is getting a lot of scrutiny. Several Republican senators trying to paint Judge Jackson as soft on crime, accusing her of being lenient in child pornography cases. Judge Jackson forcefully rejected that.
I impose a significant sentence and all of the additional restraints that are available in the law. As I understand how significant, how damaging, how horrible this crime is.
Democrats likely have the votes to confirm Judge Brown Jackson on their own. While that would not change the court's 6-3 conservative leaning, it would make her the first black woman on the nation's highest court. A line of severe storms is making its way across the South. Coming up after the weather, we'll take a look at the destruction it's caused so far. Plus,
you can see things pretty quiet, but that camera is shaking on top of our tower here in South Fargo. Some clouds out there. I expect that north wind to continue around 20 miles per hour in Fargo, cooling quickly into those middle 30s in the Southern Valley. Near freezing there by 3 a.m. in Grand Forks. So freezing conditions tonight, then blustery weather tomorrow. I'll have your full forecast next.